Good morning, everybody. Hey, this is Joe at Superior Mint. Today I just wanted to talk about some strategies and a little more info about how I got into flipping cars and how I eventually became a car dealer. And just wanted to give you guys some steps if you're interested in flipping cars, or you're interested in buying and selling cars for a profit, or you just want to know about how to get a cheap deal on a personal car that you're going to drive rather than going to a dealership. Stay tuned and I will let you know exactly how that works. So a little bit background on me. When I was 25, my dad decided to start a used car dealership. Neither one of us had any experience whatsoever. So pretty much my journey in the car industry has been trial by fire. And it's been fun, but I've taken a lot of knocks and I've learned a lot of lessons along the way. So hopefully I can share some of that wisdom with you so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. So just to give you guys a little more intro, the very first car that I bought was a 1989 Ford Bronco 2 that I bought for $350. And the other car that I bought around the same time was a 2007 Honda Fit that I believe I bought for $2,300. So pretty much we've been doing this about almost 5 years now, and I've pretty much had the attitude this whole time that the best thing to do is just buy as cheap as you can. Just buy the cheapest car you can, and it's hard to lose money when you're only paying $300 for a car. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, that's not always the best strategy, but that's the one I have the most experience in, so that's kind of what I'm going to dive into here. So, from my personal experience, if you want to flip cars, or if you just want to find a good deal, there's about 4 different avenues you can take to find the deals. Now, I'm sure there's more, so if you guys know of any, you want to drop in the comments, that's perfect, so we can help each other out. But from my experience, the best way to make money on a flip is to buy the car cheap. Buy the car right. Not necessarily for $500, but if you can get a $5,000 car for $3,000 and it doesn't need that much work, that's a good buy. But if you're buying a car that's only worth $1,200 and you think it's a good deal because you bought it for $700, guaranteed it's going to need work because you only spent $700. And there's not a lot of ceiling, there's not a lot of value, so you're pretty much just spinning your wheels to either break even or make $100 or $200. So the very first thing you need to do when you find a car is look up the book value. I'm not going to go into that because there's like a million videos on how to use Kelley Blue Book, but more importantly than that, look up the comps on Craigslist, OfferUp, Facebook, see what similar cars are selling for, because KBB doesn't know the market, it just is getting an average. So for instance, here in Phoenix, Silverados sell really well, and I've seen the Blue Book value might be $3,500, but they're selling for closer to $6,000 just because they're in such high demand. So do some research, learn your market. And that's probably going to be a video for another time. But this video right now, I'm just going to concentrate on the 4 avenues to finding a good deal on a car that you could possibly get for wholesale prices. Now, the very first avenue is private party, and I'm sure everyone for the most part has some experience searching for cars either on Craigslist, OfferUp, Facebook, or one of the other sites where you can buy private party, owner to owner. And a lot of the cars, I would say probably about 75% of the cars on there, they're going to be selling for retail, which is really hard to even say retail because it's still a private party. It's still going to be lower than if you go to a dealer and buy the car outright. But I'm just saying retail to show you and to use it as an example that it's not necessarily going to be a good deal or a car that you could potentially make money on. So there's a few things you want to look for when you're using the private party buying and selling apps. And that is to know what you're looking for if you're looking for something specific. So let's say you have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge working on Honda Civics whatever the year range is. I'm just going to use Honda Civic as an example. So jump on Craigslist, search Honda Civic, and it helps if you narrow it down to a certain generation. Like for me, I like to buy 96 to 2002 Honda Accords because they actually hold their value, and if they're in decent condition, even with 200,000 miles, they'll still bring about 3,000 to 3,500 depending on the options, the trim package, so on and so forth. So I'll put in a filter, 96 to 2002 Honda Civic, lowest price 700, highest price say 2,000. And then that gives you something specific to look for. If you don't know exactly what you're looking for, find out what your price range is, what your budget is. Say maybe you have $1,500, you're looking to get into flipping, you're looking to invest. I would recommend $900 to $2,500. Set that as your filter. Go to private party, or you can do all these exact same stuff on OfferUp, Facebook. Craigslist is really the only one where you can differentiate private party to dealer, but it's pretty obvious on Facebook and OfferUp if someone's a dealer or not. So set your parameters and then look through the cars, look through the ads. And what you're looking for is somebody who just bought a new car and they don't need their old car, so they're just looking to get rid of it. And another good thing to look for is look for like really crappy pictures. Someone only has like 2 or 3 pictures. Sometimes it can be a scam, but sometimes it's just somebody who doesn't care that much and they're not trying that hard to sell their car. And those people, they might not have the time to sell it, so they might jump at the first reasonable offer. So that's another good way to find a car where somebody might be more willing to negotiate. Conversely to that, if somebody has like 25 super high quality pictures of all the detailed angles and they wrote 3 paragraphs about how great the car is, they might not be as willing to negotiate because you can tell they're really wanting top dollar for that car. Another thing you can look for if you're on the lower end is mechanic specials, especially if you're handy. Just type into the search filter mechanic special. But again, you have to kind of know what car you're looking for and what the common problems are, because you can't just go buy anything with a blown engine or a blown transmission and expect to make money. So that's pretty much the private party. Just call people, talk to them, negotiate, wheel and deal. Know what you're looking for, know what the car is worth, and if you don't know off the top of your head, use the pricing tools, do some market research, do some analysis, shop for comps, figure out exactly what this potential car is worth. And when you see a car and it's worth $4,000, or you research and find out it's worth $4,000 and maybe they're selling it for $2,500, contact them, ask questions. It's very annoying when people contact me and they want to spend like 2 hours messaging back and forth. Is this a good car? What are the known problems? Is this a clean title? And it's clear they didn't even read the ad. So read the person's ad. Don't ask them stupid questions that are going to piss them off. And then just try to get their address. Try to get the info. Hey, when can you meet up? Don't make any offers over the app. Go there with cash. Say, I recently bought a 2006 Mazda 3, 83,000 miles. The guy had it up for $2,500. He said $2,500 firm right in the ad. I went and checked it out. Literally everything checked out, and I told him, look, all I have right now is $2,100. I'll give you the cash right now. And he said, okay, I'll take it. So that's, in my experience, the best way to negotiate. And there's so many different tips and tricks I couldn't give you guys, but this video is just an overview of 4 different ways you can find decent cars, and I've already used up like 10 minutes, so I'm just going to keep moving. The second one, auctions. So for public auctions, you've got IAA, you've got Copart, and you might have some smaller ones in your individual area. So with IAA, you've got clean title and you've got salvage title. Now 75 to 80% of the cars there are going to be salvage title, so if that's what you're looking for and you can do body work, the same principles as before. Know how much the car is worth, know what it's going to cost to fix it, and if you look at the car, write down all the parts, fender, hood, blah 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 blah, airbags, this, that, and the other. Price them out, call AutoFit, call APO, call Certifit, or whatever body parts places in your area. Get an idea of what it's going to cost you before you even bid, because how are you supposed to know what your bid is going to be if you don't even know how how much it's gonna cost to fix it. So you have to kind of work backwards. Get the value, get how much it's gonna cost to fix it, get your profit that you want built in, and then from there you will be able to figure out and calculate your bid. And another good thing that you can get at IAA and Copart are donations. So for instance, Humane Society, NPR, and different other nonprofits will take cars for donation, and then they'll consign them through the auction. And there's different reasons people donate cars. You have to obviously look at them to determine if it's a good car, but I've had some good luck buying donations. So that's kind of the first part of auctions, is the private party public auctions. And then you can get into the dealer auctions, either if you have a dealer's license, wholesale license, or if you know a dealer who's willing to bring you along. I personally don't, because it's just a waste of time, but I've heard a lot of people out there, and that might be you watching this video, so I'm not going to ignore you. I'm going to let you know right now, the best cars to buy at the dealer auctions are trade-ins from the new car stores. So for instance, there's going to be your Fords, your Chevys, your Nissans, your Toyotas, and these stores, they're selling hundreds to thousands of cars a month. So they're ending up with probably 30 to 50, maybe on a good week they'll get 100 trade-ins. Now, they're not going to go through and fix all those trade-ins unless it's a 2015 or newer, maybe even 2017 or newer. They're just going to dump it, wholesale it. So they're basically bringing 30, 40, 50 cars to the auction on one day. And a lot of those cars are actually in pretty good shape because the people actually had money, they took care of their cars, and now they traded it in, they wanted to upgrade. And you need pretty decent credit to get something at a new car store. So it's not like you're going to get the biggest hoopties cash for clunkers out there. Sure, there's going to be some cars you don't want to buy, but again, do your research, go physically look at the cars. But I can tell you, that's really the way to go. You don't really want to buy cars from other dealers. Like for me, if I'm selling a car at the auction, it's because either I couldn't fix it, or it's going to cost too much to fix it, or I just didn't want to fix it because there was no value in it once it was fixed up. But the new car dealers, they don't really do that. They're just taking whatever they get and dumping it right away. So those are really the cars to look for. Okay, the third way you can find good deals is contact your local towing companies and impound yards. And I've actually had really good luck with this. COVID kind of screwed everything up because those companies don't want people walking through their yards anymore. But even if you can contact like a independent repo guy or like a small towing company, they might get 20 to 30 cars a month that people never pick up out of impound, either because they don't have a valid license or they just can't afford the towing fees and the impound fees. And they don't want those cars, they want the money, because they pretty much did that tow for free until they sell the car and get the money back that they're owed. So they're gonna obviously not just give you the car. If it's a 2015 RT Challenger, they're not gonna sell it to you for 500 bucks. But if it retails for 15 grand and you walk in there with 10,000, if it were me and I pretty much got a car for free, yeah, I would take $10,000 for it. You know what I mean? So that can actually be a really good way to find cars. And I would say about 90% of the cars they get are junk. That's why the people never came back for them. But it can also be a really good avenue to find good deals. You just have to build that relationship, make those connections, and just check it out. Contact them, go look at their yards, see if there's anything, and also know your budget like I was talking about earlier. And I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to wrap it up with number 4. The fourth way you can find good deals is GSA or fleet vehicles. Now what GSA means is government, I think government surplus, I believe it stands for, but there's an auction here that is a dealer only auction, but I think it's once a month, but it might be once every other month. So they have what's called a GSA sale, which is open to the public, and these are all government vehicles because, as we all know, if the government agencies don't use their budget, they lose it. So they're constantly going to try to upgrade their vehicles every chance they get. Now, what do they do with the old vehicles? Well, they send them to the auction because there's certain laws and certain rules that the government has to abide by. And I think one of those is that they can't just sell the cars. They have to at least take them to the auction. They can't just turn into a dealer and start selling cars off the courthouse steps, you know what I mean? So basically the way that works is these are pretty much, they're all one owner vehicles because the government owned them. They're fleet maintained, and they're usually low mileage. A lot of times they're going to be the base model, and they're pretty much always white, but that can be a really good way to get a high quality car that's already been fully maintained and well taken care of. But keep in mind, you're going to pay a premium for these vehicles because that's what everybody wants, right? One owner, maintenance records, the whole nine. But it's still going to be a little cheaper than if you went and bought the same car from a dealer. And so the GSA sale that I see, it's usually 2011 to 2018. And it could be different agencies. Like I recently saw a 2011 Ford Expedition that was owned by the Forest Service, so it was a forest ranger, like cop car basically. So it had the partition, 4x4, the skid plate across the bottom, and I was like, man, this would be the perfect car for like a camping vehicle. But I have enough projects, so I didn't buy it. But that's just an example of what you might find there at the auction. A lot of Ford Rangers, a lot of, you know, you're talking about like the Department of Finance, the Department of Education. So there's going to be everything from little Priuses, Ford Fiestas, minivans, the whole nine. So those are GSA sales. So I would just say if you're interested in that, just Google GSA Dallas, GSA St. Louis, GSA Boston, wherever you're at, just GSA sale. And that'll tell you where the next upcoming GSA sales are. And the last aspect I want to touch on is it's called publicsurplus.com, and you can actually buy the vehicles directly from that agency in an online auction format, which is pretty cool too. So that might be another thing to check out if you're interested in government vehicles. So basically, to recap, the four ways to find killer deals that will make you money, so you can go like this if you want to get into flipping cars, are number 1, private party; number 2, auction; number 3, impound and towing companies; number 4, GSA / fleet. So like I said at the beginning of the video, if you have any other avenues that you'd like to share with the audience, please comment below. Otherwise, I will see you guys on the next one.